انا ليك سامع هلا.
يس. شعرت منيح.
هلا احنا مبدئيا بس لتعرف وير لايف هون.
اوكي جريت. بودكاست.
we'll give it a minute to propagate. تكون اول حلقه بعملها انا من ما
نيو لوكيشن.
ايه كنا تحت قبل شوي قبل fine. In about 30 seconds we'll start.
بس كنا عملنا كراود تارجتنج قبل.
هلا انت فيك you can share it for example. إذا بدك to share it.
طيب ليك تعال حتى بعتها لينكدين.
هلا إذا بتفوت على اللينكدين تبعي.
يسمي اللينك.
ايه.
ولا ليك انت. خليني حاطط لعندي. بعت مسج من
بس تصير جاهز خبرني.
يس.
Take your time. عشان انا مابديتنج كمان الفيسبوك. يلا اي واحدة الفيسبوك ولا اللينكدين؟ Just updating Facebook. أنا المشكلة
شوف كيف بغير فيك تبعت له واتساب. ايه لو توصل طلع لايف فيها
عم تلاقيها؟
يطلع لايف عندك ايه بس سوي شير.
لا على لينكدين.
هذا لينكدين انت وراك.
خلاص زي هيك مركز بطل.
إذا أشيل البروفايل حيبين هون.
صح. Not sure we can do it actually. مشكلة أنا let me try for my عملت إياها.
مش provide select cannot do it for all. We're gonna do it. لك أبدا what
خلاص مش الحال.
خليها let's write something.
إليا قربان، أهلا وسهلا وأخيرا
هلا كيفك يا
نور الاستوديو فاينلي. أخي صرنا فترة بنحكي بهالحلقة وأخيرا جيتنا على الاستوديو.
yes and it's number 13 so it's my lucky number.
It's a number 13. It's supposed to be an unlucky number but I don't actually believe in it.
no
كاسك حقيقي. Cheers.
كاسك
يانس. هلا احنا مسمين عن الحلقة هي عنوانها Life After Consulting. by the way الهيدفونز تبعونك إذا حابب تقلبهم أريح لك يمكن. أيوة يعني عليك عشان السلك يكون على الشمال. الحلقة مسمينها أنا اليوم Life After Consulting, Entrepreneurship, Freelance Consulting and the Renaissance of KSA. للي عم بحضرنا يمكن ما بيعرف، أنا وياك تعرفنا على بعض بإيتي كيرني لما بال2009-2010
مزبوط،
ومن وقتها اشتغلنا أنا وياك يمكن 4-5 سنين كونسلتينج، كل واحد فينا راح مجال. وباي ذا واي شركتنا اللي أنا اليوم كيو كولكتيف أنت بجوز السبب اللي إحنا بلشنا هالشركة. فحابب أحكي معك بكل هالمواضيع هاي يعني لأنه في كتير عالم لساتهم بيشتغلوا بكونسلتينج وعالم تركت مثلنا. و this will be the first of many episodes as part of the series of Life After Consulting على البودكاست. ف مش عارف إذا نبلش بسعودي أرابيا، نبلش بالرينيسانس تبع سعودي أرابيا، ولا نبلش بالانتربرينورشيب
ولا لا فينا نحكي على بسعودي أرابيا. it's interesting يعني. أنا during my whole consulting life ما عملت ولا project بالسعودية، maybe يمكن 3 months. okay بس since 2016-17 I went on couple of assignment and cases and I see the vibes is changing. It's the landscape is bigger than what we used to have. يعني هذه واحد. Topics are very interesting and the people that you meet there are مثل ما بدك يعني بتقول في بتضلك تتعلم. So after consulting always there is consulting. So
بس لما عم تروح عم تمشي بسعودية، أنا واحدة من الشغلات صار لي فترة مش رايحة سعودية، عم بتحس إنه لما العالم بتقول لك إنه سعودية رح to compete مع دبي وأبو ظبي. It will become the liberal capital of the Middle East وحياة وليبرال حياة وكذا. Is this what you're starting to see?
لا it's different. يعني أول شيء بعدني جاي من السعودية في موسم الرياض ما عم نعمل دعاية بس it's amazing organization. كمان عم بيعملوا نيش معين I think منه موجود بالمنطقة. 2 فيها culture and natural resources. السعودية عم تستفيد منها كتير أكيد كلنا بنعرف. But there's no competition. I think كل واحد عم بيعمل positioning معين. كل واحد ما بدنا نحكي كتير technical بس I think كل واحد عنده دور بالglobal value chain. So definitely if you dig deep you'll see the difference. But if you see هيك من بعيد بتحس إنه في competition. So لا ما بحس في competition.
بالدي تو دي لما تروح عند الكلاينتس هلا انت اليوم عم تشتغل فريلانس كونسلتنج.
Yes.
عم بتحس انه مثلا women in Saudi are starting to have a presence in the workforce. بتمشي بالشارع بتحس انه مش مثل اول قمع
لا
women are driving.
بالعكس driving your Uber can be a Saudi female. Your colleagues next to you in the same room in the same desk could be a Saudi female. بالعكس أنا بحس females are more focused than males يعني.
أنا معاك بس ما كانت هيك الحياة بالسعودية.
لا أبدا at all. It's a big change, drastic change is يعني impressive the change that's being done. I was very impressed. And the most important thing كمان they are delegating to the youth. So بتحس في trust in the youth. هذه كتير مهمة. Similar what was happening in UAE, you know, when you see like previous project managers that worked now they are ministers or they are so the track اللي عندهم إياه كمان حيكون سريع. إذا بدك الميكس يعني you don't know it's Saudi, it's a normal place to work in. You know, أكيد بيبقى في بعض cultural traits بس it's a different country أكيد.
طيب هلا بما انه نحن اشتغلنا لانه انا بدي اركز على موضوع الكونسلتنج تحديدا. بتذكر لما نحن كنا نشتغل مع كيرني اوليفر وايمان الواحد كان يحس حاله الان بهالاندستري كنا نحبها. it's a love hate relationship مع consulting. you love it because you learn a lot. Yes. you make good money, you travel. بس واحد بيحس حاله خايف يترك هالاندستري وهالemployment life to take the jump into entrepreneurship. You took this jump and I took this jump. ما شاء الله أصحابنا اللي هلأ صاروا بارتنرز بيرفعوا الراس ومبدعين. بس كيف شعورك إنك هلأ لما ترجع أنت you are integrating back into consulting as a freelancer and you are also an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about those two separately. يعني تحس حالك إنه مثلا يا ريتني بقيت بالكونسلتنج ولا بتحس حالك مبسوط إنك تركت؟ شو انطباعك بشكل عام؟
لا كل كاركتر له his journey مثل ما بيقولوا you know so لا بالعكس it's good to have this reunion and reconnection and let's say with the market what's happening. It's a good pulse check to have. But not everybody can make it to a straight A consultant. We all know that. So بدها devotion بدها إذا بدك كمان a bit of luck chance. كله بيلعب. بس أهم شيء إنه it's not we're gonna live in hybrid world. عرفت يعني هلا بتشوف كله is mixed. يعني today I'm with you هون broadcast بعد شوي رايحة فرنسا I'm being incubating ستاسيون اف ما عم نحكي أكتر بس إنه you can play multiple roles. The world is big. يعني لازم to have those multiple kind of ما بدي أقول jobs بس paths and careers. Now there's no one career. I don't see it.
What are you incubating in France?
In France. So my company Win, what is next? We have a very nice صرنا 7 سنين عم نعمل development for a portal called Procreo. It's a platform. I think it will help consultant a lot. So كمان من الconsulting فيك تطلع وتعمل شيء بيساعد. And it's kind of the main mandate of it is activating the new CFO 2.0. You know, the CFOs of today are different than the CFOs that we know. They need real time. Performance management. They need to understand how they can create value instantly, you know, because you see now there's no boundary. There's a lot of shocks that happening in the system and you really need to quickly analyze what's happening and have advanced model AI to predict what are the trends. So This is something we've been working on. We did a lot of pilots, a lot of scholars in the States, in Europe, or some cases in Saudi. So we have 2 cases of, let's say, POCs in KSA. And now we're doing kind of a partnership with associate. I'm an alumni of HEC in Paris. So we're going to be incubated there. They're going to support us because it's kind of one of the leading business school and they like the platform a lot.
But as a CFO, traditionally you have
your Excel, your controller, financial controller, but you don't know how the value is created across your, through the transaction. So we're going one level deeper than the activity-based costing. So
ABC costing.
Yes. So this is the novelty of the product. And the second thing, we're introducing machine learning to help segment the business. Usually as consultant, we have kind of préjugé. A prototype, you have to high big spender, small spender demography. But this is not the real life. When you mimic your business model, it's not real. So the machine learning will help you to really find the trends and meaning. You can buy this phone from a shop, from a salesman, and give you a profitability. Same phone, but with the salary of another salesperson, it will have different profitability. And these trends, you can find them, through the machine learning. It will help you spot on where you need to optimize. So I think it's an important tool that will give you different lenses of your business.
100%. هلا this is one of عادة المانجمنت كونسلتنتس اللي بيتركوا كونسلتنج وبيفوتوا على مجال الستارت ابس تلاقيهم بيروحوا على اوبر امازون بيفتحوا شركة كونسيومر برودكت. بس انت you took the experience you had in consulting I don't know how much the cost benchmarking work we've done at Kearney was relevant.
No, there is a lot of cases. Actually, no, it's more. You have a lot of scholars. Like one of them is Gary Cockens. He's well known. Value-based management is about that. I'm in touch with him. The guy is he's a legacy in what he does.
By the way, we're streaming on LinkedIn. For people here are coming here to learn about the business insights. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Gary Cockens. So he predicted accounting is about that. Predictive accounting should come in place and CFO should be using it, as really a tool to create value. But there is no tool in the market. There is no one that, take the deep tech, And when we talk deep tech, it's not an easy word. So you really need to have the right team that can build a model, a suitable model mimicking your real business. Okay, all the factors, all the business rules. It's not an easy job to do. So this is something that we see that technology will augment human capability. Okay, I don't see them confronting each other. في كتير discussion. The AI will replace us. The consultant will next time. You'll have a robot doing your job. No, it's not there. I think there is a different consulting that we'll see in the future. This consulting is more powered by technology, and we start to see that also the need at the client side. عم بفتشوا على solutions, ما عم بفتشوا على recommendation only. Okay, how you make your recommendation live, existing, perpetual. I see a lot of players trying to do, كل واحد بطريقته. بتلاقي بياخدوا use case معينة بالconsulting, like pricing optimization or procurement optimization or supply chain optimization, and they do a product around that or a platform. And بتحس انه في pick up in the market with clients and the consulting and using those tools.
Do you think it will potentially cannibalize on management consulting as we know it? لأنه إحنا كنا أيام نيجي كconsultants نفوت على client عنده مشكلة معينة, نعمل دراسة معينة, ناخد الداتا, نعطي recommendation. Everything was based on Excel. We would crunch numbers. We would develop slides. Do you think that like in 5-10 years with the tool that you're developing and others, what will be the role of management consulting companies if a lot of the recommendations that typically consultants need to give is going to be replaced with AI?
Not replaced. It's going to be more acute, like use specific use cases. The big picture, now doing a strategy for 5 years, it's important to have like the horizon. outlaid يعني. بس there is a lot of value that you can create in minute steps that are very important that you need to start to do it in your business. Okay. يعني this is important. Like I'm giving you an example. Education, you know, no, it was so hard to disrupt, and now you have a lot of players that they're doing it. Okay. Healthcare, telemedicine, everywhere technology is entering, you know, and when it's going to enter, you want to use it to make the solution. If you see like one of my old kind of mentors, he was to be like, كنا عم نحكي إنه what is the future؟ قال لي خلص نحن we're becoming a tech player, not consulting firm. So you see the big fours, they're going into that direction.
صح.
It's a tech firms.
Yeah.
I see them like in 10 years, pure tech players, you know, that definitely they're doing consulting and so on, but the majority of their business come from technology.
طيب فأنت هلا تركت full time employment, which is a very daring step. A lot of people are very scared to leave a full time job. Employment in general gives you the job security. Month to month you get your salary. هاي خطوة جريئة، وأنا برأيي كentrepreneur يعني بحيي أي شخص قدر ياخذ هاي الخطوة and take the plunge into entrepreneurship. اللي عم بلاحظه إنه نحن كمانجمنت كونسلتنتس اللي اشتغل كمانجمنت كونسلتنت الحمد لله عندنا الفرصة إنه نرجع نشتغل 3 شهور 4 شهور زي ما أنت هلا عم تعمل كفريلانس كونسلتنت and still be an entrepreneur.
Yes, that's great actually.
And so tell me a little bit more about this life. يعني أنت اليوم when you take a step like that, how are you able to manage the risk that you don't have a job, you are an entrepreneur, but you can always do freelance consulting? Do you find this to be a consistent model that allows you to still be an entrepreneur without risking, you know, I have to have a full-time job? كيف شايف الماركت بشكل عام من هاي الناحية؟
Like you always find jobs, and if you have a good profile, you will always, you know, land an opportunity which is easy. I'm not saying easy, but yes. So, taking the step, it requires definitely you have to think it through. يعني أول شيء اثنين, life is about risk. يعني you want to have high rewards, you need to take that. Okay, and you cannot create. You know, I created 10 years ago. I started with a very small team in Lebanon. Now we have kind of incorporated in 3 countries. So we're doing one in Ireland to protect the IP, one in France to do the corporate relationship. And we still have like around 15 people in Beirut, you know, helping in developing in deep tech. So...
are you alone? Do you have any co-founders?
No, I have a co-founder.
Okay.
He's a tech, Anthony. So we salute him. He's... he ran this, you know, the show when I'm not there. So definitely you need to have a team. So you cannot, you know, do both if you don't have a proper structure next to you. You know, you can be entrepreneur, individual, but in the field that I need to rely on a strong partner. You know, when I'm doing consulting and building those relationships. In terms of taking the jump, you feel it. know, everybody, you felt it, you know, خلاص, you said, okay, I want to see on the other side how people are doing it, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's not easy. يعني أنا بالعكس ما بقول إنه it's easy. Sometimes you really to find you know, source of funding. Sometimes you overinvest in your company. Sometimes you face a lot of challenges. You have to have always backup plans. You have to always manage properly, let's say, your cash flow and investment. So not to fall into like a distress.
لا أنا دائما بس يعني بطلع على كتير من الكوليجز تبعونا، تحكي معاهم بقول لك يعني أنا بس أصير مانجر أو بس أصير برنسبل بدي أترك كونسلتينج، بس they find themselves stuck وبدهم يفتحوا شركات وبدهم يسافروا أو يفتحوا مزرعة أو community بيوروب، بس ما حدا
can invest with us
عادي ما في شيء إشكال. يعني إذا يعني كلها
we're doing the job on their behalf, so it's fine.
500 million valuation عادي.
it's easy يعني we can have
بس لا أظن الشغلة اللي كتير في عالم ما عم بتلاحظها إنه if you are مش بس management consultant, if you are any type of professional service provider, designer, software developer, شو ما كنت يعني employment is a little bit مش حقول لك outdated. You can still be employed and become a CEO and kill it in your career. بس we are at the cusp of, and of course I'm a bit biased because I'm running a gig economy company, but a lot of people are missing out on their passions and the opportunities that they have if they just depend on the gig economy to work a couple of months a year to bring in the income that they need to bring, and then dedicate the other 5-6 months of their year to follow their passions, their projects. And what was the trigger for you to say, look, there is an opportunity, CFOs need better tools, I think I should build this product, it doesn't exist? What was the point اللي قلت لحالك انه I'm willing to take this risk because I want to take this opportunity before anybody else does that? كان في لحظة معينة يعني هيك صارت معك انه eureka moment؟
Actually, yes. تقول لك when you come into doing, أنا عم بحكي عن حالي, I don't know other people, بس أنا when you start being the repeated things you stop to learn.
صح.
Let's say it out loud. You become kind of just repeatable model of yourself. هون you start asking question. Okay, I have capacity, I have an idea, I have a bit of resource also. مش بس في كتير عالم عندهم أفكار بس ما في resource. يعني I think the entrepreneur بينجح هو how to manage his resource. يعني everybody has a good idea. It's really the resource that you need, and you have to assess that before jumping to that. This is the moment where you say, okay, it's not another Truman Show day.
It feels like that sometimes.
It feels like that. I want to go sail, knock on the edge, and see meet my creator, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's very scary to do it, but it's very satisfaction. Yeah, and in every case you do, or you crack, or you are become independent, and you create something, and you achieve something on your own, عنده غير taste أكيد. You always have, jobs in the market or relationship.
صح. أنا مرة actually هذا الموديل عمرك I don't know if you heard of it. It's called the flow model اللي هو it's a 2x2 since we were talking about consulting.
Yeah.
يعني. So the x-axis is like I actually spoke about that in a previous episode. أظن ضربت الكاميرا أنت نتفهم معلش يعني عليك خلاص it's fine leave it. This is the shenanigans of an in-home podcast.
Yes.
The flow model talks about two axes, the challenge and the skill. So when you are doing something where your skill is high, مثلا أنت بحالتك with the tool you built, you have a strong skill with costing models, CFO function, إلى آخره consulting. So this skill level is high that you have, and then the challenge that you're doing is higher than the usual challenge. يعني أنت you used to do مثلا لما إحنا كنا consulting slides or presentations with the same recommendations نوعا ما, pretty much the same problem, different client. And so when you increase the challenge, and which means starting a company, and the skill that you have in this challenge is also high, then you're in flow, which is like the best place to be if you're going to spend the rest of your life doing an endeavor. If the challenge is low, you're bored. If the skill is low and the challenge is high, you have anxiety, actually.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think this is what seems to have happened with you.
Yes. I think it's we're flowing and floating if you want. يعني إذا بدنا نزيد عليها. Like it's كمان it's important in entrepreneur. This is I have my son, and I teach him one thing. He always asks me why you leave, what you do. It's different. It's very difficult to explain to a kid, the life of a busy father like me. Traveling, based in France, I go to this and so on. So I told him, you always have to fall دغري لقدام, مقطوع لقدام. This is what I do. I jump always because I want to move, step up, and advance. So أكيد حتلاقي challenge وتفشل. You make a lot of fails, but أهم شيء يكون عندك the skills that that this is challenge. أكيد حيجي غيره وأكبر وأصعب. Okay, sometimes you beat them, sometimes they beat you, but you keep on flowing. إذا بدك. So it's important to have أنا بحس the positive mindset. Okay, positive growth of your mindset is important. يعني you are always bigger than the problem that you are in. هاي كتير مهمة. Okay, if you have this confidence that you will find the solution or you'll find a way, you will find it eventually.
Yeah.
ما في شيء يعني عن جد ما يعني.
معظم العالم اكشلي مش خايف، مش يعني اللي ما عم بياخذ الخطوه الجريئه اللي لازم ياخذها البني ادم to take a risk. It's not because there is no backup option. It's because I think my theory is, and tell me if you agree, يعني the fear of failure. يعني a lot of people don't want to fail in their own eyes or in the eyes of their partners, husbands, wives, whatever, friends. فبتلاقيهم خايفين ياخذوا خطوة لأنهم خايفين إنهم يفشلوا و people to think إنه to judge them يعني. Otherwise most people will be okay. يعني أنا I'm obviously privileged when I say most people will be okay لأنه we are part of a group of people who can always find jobs, or worst case you might have to live in austerity for a few months until you find another job.
Yes.
But that's fine. I mean, that's worth the risk. But a lot of people are not afraid of that as much as I think they're afraid of the social failure of having to in the eyes of people
the stigma I feel.
طلع هذا الزلمه حاول يعملها المشروع فشل او مصدق حاله او مبسوط على حاله يعني. This is what I think seems to be the main issue that stops people from taking the step forward in any risk in life.
I think this you mentioned it very well. يعني pressure تبع السوسايتي منه موجود. يعني أنا عم بقول لك part of my decision, يعني مش my decision يعني I have the chance to have dual nationality and so on. In Europe في عندك ecosystem. You see, it's amazing how much they create small companies to support entrepreneur. بيقولوا لك خود بدفع لك معاش طلع بايديا. عندهم ecosystem رهيب.
ما عندنا يعني احنا هون
at all. يعني انت مثلا imagine تقول انا هلا رايح مثلا عم بحكي let's talk about the French system. Okay, قد ايه بتحسوا انه rigid. But for the entrepreneurs, you say if someone wants to leave his job, tell him I have an idea. They keep on paying his salary for two years. Okay, so they have support.
هاي بيوروب
Europe. I'm back in France. If you have an idea,
repeat it slowly. هلا أنا as a موظف بيوروب I can say to my company I'd like to take 2 years
there's
off.
programs, you subscribe to it. They will pay you 70% of your salary or 80% of your salary, as a chômage. And then you can start your business. And then they don't, in the new business, they don't take taxes.
What's in it for them as employers?
Which employers? The country, the decision makers, the government wants to create the middle class.
So the government pays the entrepreneur
Yes.
70% of their last job's salary?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. These ecosystem exists. That's why you have, startup nations that working very well, because this is an ecosystem. Here is the ecosystem. I'm not talking about the region, but in general, okay. You have VC vultures, أنا بسميهم بيجوا بيكون عندك young people منهم experience. They put high pressure on them. You have to do a great idea. You have to finish your product in 6 months. You have to have the size of sales or revenues or subscription, whatever the model is. And they fail because there's also pressure from the stakeholders that they bring on board, and there's no support. There's no ecosystem that support them. In Europe, and I think in North America, even in Singapore, Innov, you see a lot of programs that support the entrepreneur, and I think this should happen.
طب ليه ما عم بيصير معنا؟ يعني هون بدبي وبأبو ظبي وبسعودية this seems to be one of the huge levers to allow a lot of people to get into entrepreneurship and startup world. They're trying everything here. They've taken out the tax. They have all these accelerator programs and so on. If you look at the all the different enablers or the key success factors for startups in the region, they've tried everything, but nobody will subsidize your salary. If I'm employed in Dubai, nobody will pay me 70% of my salary to go start a company. But that's amazing.
Okay, this is I'm being a bit kind of it's gonna be usual episode, Yazan. So I'm with tax.
Hey, fine.
I tell you why.
Oh, okay.
Right. Because you can fund such program.
Okay. I see.
All right.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, if we are in a country that's taxable, I'm thinking example why I moved to Europe, or also you encourage the middle sector, or let's say the entrepreneurs, let's call them, all right, to sell services, because I'm paying a tax, for example, for let's take the case of my platform. If I go to a company, I tell them, this is the price. You can say, okay, at the end, I'm going to pay it a tax so I can invest in this product. Here, it's a pure gain. So the risk also to convince someone to take something, it's very And sometimes our products are tax deductible.
Yeah.
They're incentive. So there is a system where you can create the right incentive flow, the circle economy that you want to have, that does not exist here. But I think they will follow it in the future.
Yeah. In the race for in the startup race between UAE and Saudi Arabia, from what you're seeing since you're on the ground, you're in consulting. I don't know how much you're getting exposure to the effort that's going on to accelerators, innovation programs. Have you seen anything in Saudi Arabia that would indicate, the next? Some people are talking about the next Silicon Valley being in the region. Yani, I don't know how aggressive is Saudi Arabia from what you're seeing.
Like both things. في شغلة شفتها which is I liked also is the young Saudis, they like to invest in startup. Okay, so there is a lot of appetite actually. I don't know if I can, but I discovered the platform. They made a platform which is a kind of unofficial platform where you can invest in startup, which is massive. And imagine انت عندك حدا عامل لك application and you can invest. It's not crowdfunding. It's kind of, I'm not going to say it's a shady, but it's kind of like a closed group. It's massive pitches. You have more than I looked into 500 pitch on it, where they can invite those small investors. أنت مثلا director or executive director عندك extra money on the side instead of spending it somewhere. You put it in a startup. So هيدا a lot of investment that happening. عم بيشجع. اثنين في scale. In startup بدك scale. يعني population, reach, diversity, it's massive. يعني انت you talk about 20 million or 30 million versus 10 million. Definitely the economy in terms of scale, in terms of users is bigger.
And also a lot of those startups are targeting the Middle East at large, not just Saudi Arabia. يعني.
بس عندهم الكابتيف ماركت تبعهم interesting. Second, كمان في a lot of small programs supporting them مثل منشآت مثل a lot of people يعني they supporting it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But here definitely you have the private side of the business, the headquarters. كمان they have different leverage. يعني when you do a product here and a startup in UAE, you will have access into headquarter of multinational أكتر كمان. Also this is a leap for you in the bigger market.
طيب نرجع للمانجمنت كونسلتنج. Has it changed at all since we left? Or do you still do exactly what we were doing when we were there?
يعني the good thing is the young blood is they putting like the generation Z and let's say the millennials, they're putting their stamp into the cases. So it changed, yes. مش بس لأنه الكلاينت needs تغيرت.
How so يعني إنه اليوم إحنا we did consulting in around 2010.
نحن كنا more private equity, more very tough. But we were more European standard of consulting. إذا بدك.
Like when you and I were working.
Yes. It was heavy hours. It was short assignment. It was heavy due diligence. I remember. Still here they're doing crazy hours كمان يعني. It didn't change much يعني. This is something you see it differently in Europe. It changed like the government storytelling. You know, always there's government side of it. Always this policy making. So I see sometimes consulting is mixed with economic and social development. You know, so. منه كتير analytical as it used to be. It's more kind of
qualitative.
Qualitative. This style has changed. And you have to have this know-how. Because they need it in the market. Yeah.
وأصلا the clients are getting the knowledge is increasing at the client side. They don't need recommendations as much as they needed it from before. So I think the role of the consultant at this point is just to handhold them through things.
A transition, yes. مظبوط. يعني there's big programs that cascaded. They need the transformation. So,
what about the lifestyle? Do you still find that as a management consultant, you
like I see all type. You know, like you still have people that they have a good cases, normal, and then you have this crazy ones. So it's a mix. But still, they. Always we can over deliver, like If you can be more straight to the point, you can save a lot of time and focus. This culture of overselling, let's say, or overdoing, it's affecting a bit the quality than
So
the impact.
I'll tell you something. And I come across a few data points that in Saudi Arabia, the spend on management consulting per year is around anywhere between $2 to $3 billion, depending on which source you're
I
looking
think
at.
is more.
I think so too. And I think if this was $2-3 billion before Corona, then over the next 5 years, so the GCC in total is around 5. That's another data point I came across. And that's not a small market. Yani, 80, so our previous employer, Kearney, now has 600 full-time employees. When I left Kearney, there were 150.
Yeah.
Now they are 600. This is one of the top consulting firms in the region. MashaAllah, yani, to grow from 150 consultants 10 years ago to 600 full-time staff. And that also means BCG, McKinsey.
Yeah,
everybody grew.
Yeah.
Nobody closed down. Nobody shrunk. Everybody grew. Even Bain and Company, which is for some reason smaller than it needs to be in the region. But everybody is growing. And I think what's happening is the dependence on management consultants. If we thought this market was hot 10 years ago, what we're going to see from now to the next 10 years is going to be almost like a bubble in a stock market, but in consulting. Everybody working with consultants seems to become the business as usual, even more than it used to be in the past.
Yes, هلا. As you said, it's a bubble, everything. This is the cycle of economy. ما في شيء بيكبر ما بينزل. So it's something where they need to be, they see it, they know it.
Thanks, by the way.
يلا ايه.
Okay. So while you أنا الفكرة اللي عم بحاول أوصلها كمان إنه basically the market is growing, and that also means with the gig economy that's also booming for consultants and clients now getting more used to working with independent management consultants. The pie is increasing. It's not just that the share of freelancers is increasing in the pie, but the entire pie is increasing. The market itself is growing, and as the market grows, the big consulting firms, McKinsey, BCG, Bain, Wyman, Kearney, they're all getting bigger. But also freelance consultants, like I used to work as like you are as well, they're gonna have a big chunk of the market. أنت إذا عم نحكي عن what is it, 5 billion market, addressable market across the GCC. 1% of that is $50 million. So if $50 million, if freelance management consultants can get $50 million worth of that market, and that's just 1%.
No, I think like they are playing a good model, by the way. I think blending the team with people that are independent, they have a lot of other experience, is enhancing the cases. I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about everybody. Like the profile of the people that they bring to the cases, it will help their team also to do better knowledge transfer, make different type of seniority, different type of skills. So they need this gig economy. The blending approach, blending in general, okay, it's healthy for any business delivery channel. So I think for consulting similarly. So blending the breed is a بدك يعني هو الإلدورادوس plus the traditional consultant, it is giving good results at the client side. So plus the client is appreciating this type of profiles being with an unusual consultant. Also they know it, they identify it, they see that they have hands-on approach, so it's beneficial for both.
وحيكون في اللي حيصير إنه you're gonna have a lot of clients that will go straight to the freelance management consultants, and and for some cases, and in other cases they will go for the big firms. They need the big firms.
كل واحد عنده definitely I think it's a continuation. When a client needs a big stamp, he will go for the big firm. When a client needs something very operational, which is where you have to do the impact, they need hands-on people, and that are not the same price as same price point as the big consulting firm. So there is a market for everything.
هذيك المرة كنت
And you remember we did one case directly, which was massive. Yani.
That's true.
I remember it, and because we came after 3-4 big consulting firm, and we changed the delivery in less than, I don't know, it was even 6 weeks to 8 weeks. And
Exactly. And I think this was one of the, this particular client that we worked with about 2 years ago, which is a government entity in Saudi. That particular stakeholder, he saw the value in bringing the skills that he needed as the head of that entity. We cannot disclose which one it was. And he saved their entity a lot of money. I think he ended up paying something like a fourth or a third of what he would have had to pay.
Sure.
But then the entire team of independent management consultants that worked with on that project, they made maybe 2 to 3 times more money than they would have if they were full-time consultants.
yes,
So everybody won. So the consultants made more money. The end client saved money and got the same results, probably faster, because he didn't have to get the entire pyramid. And this was a great example of how it's a win-win-win situation. The third win would be the companies in the middle that's making that,
Definitely.
the platforms that are doing the matchmaking. In this case, it was our company. And I think between management consulting as an industry, in my opinion, is facing a huge disruption between two things. The tools that you're talking about, which will start to supplement, but by definition, it also means that it will somewhat replace manual management consulting.
and I see it will free up their time. Yani, like, I tell you what, part of my development is really like, you have tools that save you the diagnostic phase. Instead of crunching those 6 months to understand what you have, now in 2 weeks you understand everything. So you save time to your client and you bring more value, and you free up a bit of time of the juniors so they can focus on something more beneficial to the client and so on. So the case staffing and the resources mix, let's call it, it will change, but the impact أنا بالنسبة إلي in the professional service, it has to be bigger. So your impact at the client side, now before he get used a nice kind of market analysis, he will happy. Now, no, he will see more advanced trends, micro recommendation. He will see an architecture of a solution that help him. So the consulting also, they'll push the boundaries. You cannot say that. They are smart people. They know the other what they need. They play their cards very well. So they're gonna change kind of the type of delivery and the anticipation at the other side and create this impact and creating the value.
100%. لأنه كل واحد من هدول individual consultants اللي عم بيجي للكلاينتس عم بيكون عم بيجيب his own personal experience برا الconsulting toolkit. From startups, مثل انت هلا قاعد مثلا عندك your own CFO tool startup, so whatever insights you've gathered.
Procreo, it's a nice name.
It's called Procreo.
Yeah, profit creation.
Do we have a website that we can tell people to check out?
Yes. You can go into now predictive.global. So this is a company, the UK-based company that is selling the managed service of Procreo. نعم دعاية يا زلمة.
يلا انت جاي على podcast معنا
definitely, but there is a new uplift of the whole brand image in Procreo.io soon's gonna come. So you'll see all the cases, testimonials. So it's great. So definitely you'll share it and dispatch it to your community.
Excellent. طيب listen, and I want to. I think we've been going around for almost an hour. Do you have? I was hoping to leave a positive message, JK, for some of the not just the management consultants, specifically management consultants, but also other professional service providers that are still employed who might be هيك on the fence. إنه أترك ما أترك أفتح شركتي كذا. في هيك يعني, is there something you could leave people who are watching who might be on the fence when it comes to their desire to move into startup world? What can you leave them with, like, a few words to encourage them to take the plunge?
And I'm talking from my circle. I never, let's give you a good hard statistic. So 80% of the people I know, they succeeded. Definitely 20%. I'm saying, like, eventually they succeeded. All right, let's put it in the right terms. Definitely do the jump. doing what you are passionate about it and where you can make a difference, this is where you have to be. So this is, I think, my positive notes before إذا بدك ناخد a small break or
لا نختم الحلقه مبدئيا. What I want to say is يعني for anybody listening, procreo.io, is this where they can follow
yes,
you?
and predictive.global.
Okay, predictive.global is your tool?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about it as we're wrapping up.
Okay, as we're wrapping up, so this is a tool that uses machine learning and artificial intelligence, mainly machine learning, to really identify the profit pools in your organization in real time and give you the recommendation about how you can adjust it. So it's a great tool for CFOs they can adopt this new agile and real-time value creation, let's say, principles in their organization. That's it.
Excellent. Elia Basha, thank you so much for coming.
Yazan,
it was great. Inshallah, we'll have you again in a few years where your startup is...
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Yazan.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you. Bye.